Being a veteran is a profound honor, one that carries with it the weight of service, sacrifice. We owe our veterans a profound debt of gratitude, not just for their service, but for the immense courage they show in transitioning back to civilian life. The Making History Project mission is to honor and preserve the legacy of our veterans by documenting and sharing their stories with future generations. We aim to ensure that the sacrifices and experiences of those who served are never forgotten, fostering a deeper understanding and appreciation of our collective history. Making History Project presents Echoes of Service.
This is Sophia Newman with the Making History Project. I am interviewing Joel Freriedman for the first time, and this interview is taking place over Zoom on August 12th, 2024. And this interview is being conducted by the University of Miami, the University of Miami Veterans Resource Center, and the Making History Project. So how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good. So let's start with your early life. When were you born?
So I'm originally from Brazil. I was born in 1984. I'm a little not the average age of students in the UM. I moved to the US when it was 19 years ago. It's going to be 20 this year.
It's awesome. So, would you be able to describe like where you grew up, like specifically your hometown or just Brazil in general?
Yeah, so I grew up in a city called Belo Horizonte. It's probably the fifth biggest city there. 120, it's a young city. It used to be a farm 120 years ago, 130 years ago. And it jumped from a small farm to nowadays it's close to like 3-4 million people, I think. So when I was growing up, it was already like over 1 million people, very big city. And a lot of mountains, a lot of buildings, a lot of engineers there, a lot of mining on the state. My state's a state of mountains in Brazil. Rivers, waterfalls. Part of my family comes from the background of farm. So growing up, I grew up like spending my vacations in the farms or going to the beach. So that this mix of big city and countryside that I really enjoyed. And I went to a Catholic school. I went to Loyola in Brazil. I had full scholarship there. Was there for 11 years. And I ended up going to university in Brazil on a federal university. And when I decided to move to the US, I was probably a year in, I think. And when I moved to the US, I came here with a work visa. And once I arrived, I ended up going to New York later, working in hospitality. I was working in a nightclub. And I enjoyed and it stayed. I decided to stay in the US. But growing up in Brazil was interesting. Like I was a kid that had scholarship, studying around a lot of rich kids, and I didn't really have any means. I came from like my mother was kind of poor, and it was a interesting dynamic. I think that the good thing is made me think about a lot of about growing, developing, becoming something bigger. Probably one of the reasons I ended up in the United States.
Yeah. Would you be able to describe your family for me?
Yeah, so my general family is really, really large. It's like I think my great grandmother had like 18 kids,
Wow.
and the other one I think had 12. So it's like really large families.
Yeah.
My mother had, let me see, three brothers, one sister. Um, I was the only son from her side. So inside my household was pretty much my mother and I. My father wasn't around. He really didn't want to have any involvement. I had a stepfather for like 10 years when I was 6 to 16. really didn't have an easy childhood. My stepfather was an alcoholic. That caused all sorts of problems at home. Like, it was a difficult childhood. I spent a lot of time like playing outside, playing soccer, doing outdoor things because they don't really want to spend too much time at home. Um, but my family, my big family, they were all very supportive. So I was always spending vacation, traveling to different places in the country to visit different like people from the family, like cousins that I never met before. So I would spend like a month or two on summer vacation, summer break. I would just go to a farm or go with my uncle would take me to the beach and meet like spend time with other cousins. Um, so my family, my larger family, always received me a lot, and that was also a really good experience for me to be exposed to different types of culture, different type of people, you know.
Yeah. And I know you described some of your education earlier, but could you maybe describe some of your higher education, maybe some sports you played, any hobbies you have currently?
Okay, so I grew up playing, actually really into martial arts. I think I was bullied when I was very little, so I wanted to learn how to defend myself. So I did a lot of taekwondo, kung fu, um, karate, and later on, I played a little bit of tennis between 6 and 9, and then later I got really into playing soccer. Um, Soccer, like also grew up in a neighborhood that was a lot of mountains, so we didn't have a car. I just ran everywhere to go to places. I literally go to my friends' streets. I had to go through hills, and it was a lot of walking or running. And I I just played a lot of soccer. I really loved. I had a lot of endurance, so that was my favorite sport. I did a lot of like mountain biking, but nothing like professional, like just all for fun. I enjoy swimming a lot. I swam a lot when I was younger. I love going to the ocean and swimming outdoors. Um, I think all this interest in nature and being very athletic was something that drew me to the army later in life. Like, in terms of education, I went to hospitality in Brazil. I dropped out of school to stay in the United States. Um, I decided to go back to school not too long ago, 2017. Um, I was traveling the world. I decided to take a class in economics, and I liked it. So by 2019, I decided to join the army, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it because I always want to serve. It will challenge myself physically. I can do a lot of sports, like all these different things. So physically, I think I can do well. I ended up going to the ranger assessment in the army because physically I did well. And I um, I think that during my time in the army, I got my first like I went back to school, so I was working during the day, and then at night I would get home and just do a lot of studying. I joined a college and I was getting a liberal arts degree, and I pretty much finished. I'd separated from the army. I finished right after that. A few months later, I finished, and then that's when I decided to apply for UM.
That's awesome. So were you well you enlisted. I'm
Was I
assuming
what?
enlisted or drafted.
No, I enlisted. I went there because I wanted to. I actually went to the army when I was 34, which was cutoff age,
Yeah.
and they actually asked me just to do a few exams. You got to do a test. I scored well on the test. I wanted to do intelligence, but you can't do intelligence um, if you're a first generation American. That your parents have to be. Otherwise, you can go in the army, and then your second term you can actually go into intelligence. My second option was finance. So uh, they're like, "Oh, finance is full," and I decided kind of like, "Okay, I'm gonna walk out of the office. I'm not gonna do it then." Um, they're like, "Oh, wait," and they made a call there, and then I ended up getting the job in finance. They did all these physical tests. Um, I did basic training, from basic training, I had to do my finance training, and then I scored really high there. Um, this one guy from the Rangers, from the Ranger Regiment, he found me there, and he's like, "Oh, I saw your scores, physical scores, because you do all this running, you do like all this push-ups and all these different things. I scored really high. I scored like max." So he's like, "Would you like to try the Rangers?" So my first year in the Army, I ended up going to Georgia as well, and going to the Ranger assessment. I spent, I think, 4 months, 6 months there. I ended up getting injured. I found like spine injury and like had to have surgery and all that. But it was a really good time that I was there. Very challenging, besides the consequence of like the how I got hurt and all that. But um, I actually just had a surgery right now, like 2 weeks, like 10 days ago, from
Wow.
my ankle because my time over there. Um, but yeah, that's I went to the army later, but it was good. I got a few like awards over there of like competition and stuff like that. I'm very competitive, so it was fun.
That's wonderful. So, do you have any other family members that have served in the military in any capacity?
No, I'm the first generation serving. All my family it's in Brazil. I am married now. My wife's here. But no, none of our families, no one ever served. I'm the first one. I grew up watching a lot of movies. Also, to be honest, I'm a very big fan of American history, and probably one of the reasons that I decided to serve as well, because my beliefs and the things that I stand for. I think the army was a way for me to kind of like give back a little bit. The country gave me a lot, like over the years. It was really good to me, so it was a way to give back, I think.
How did your family feel about you entering military service?
My mom is very proud. My mom, when I was younger, she wanted me to go to Air Force in Brazil. I was really good in math. So she was like, "Oh, you should try. You can like go into airplanes and stuff." I wasn't really interested in that. I always been more like an army person, like more of a land adventure person. Um, so my mom, when I decided to go to the army, I was older already, but like she was like, "You think you can do it? Do it," like, and she's very proud. My family are all they all respect a lot. Never had anybody saying bad things. Um, yeah, like I think in general, like everybody's very proud that I was able to serve and do that. Also, like look at me, it's like it's a challenge, so they're like, oh, it's kind of cool, like have someone in the family that did that.
So, what was your role in specialty while you were in the army?
So I was a 36 Bravo, which is a financial technician. Um, so the army, it's like almost like running a city or a country, depending where you are, right? Like I was working in Schofield Barracks most of my years there in Hawaii, and it's a little town where you have people from the army that live there. You have the barracks where the soldiers stays if they're single. You have a supermarket, and you have a bank, and you have like all these different things. I was working in finance, and then we in the finance office were responsible for um, pretty much like running like a bank. People need loans, they go there. There is a change in their pay, that's where the central goes. Because sometimes, like in the army, you get married, you start getting a different pay. You get a new rank, like you grow inside the army and you get a new rank, you get a different pay. All those things are done inside our office. So we're pretty much in charge of looking into each soldier, what each soldier was doing, what they're supposed to be getting in terms of money, in terms of pay. Um, and we were responsible to make sure that each person is getting the right thing. If someone's deployed for Afghanistan, for example, they're supposed to get special pay for deployment, hazard pay because it's dangerous and they get a little extra. So all those things, they got to go through the system. We were in charge of looking at like debt management, um, some accounting. The office had a area that did with budgets. We're operating the Bank of the Army locally, I would say. You can grow inside of that and go to Indianapolis, which is the top of it, and like it's the kind of the central, but I was working locally in Hawaii, and we were responsible for 25,000 soldiers and family in the Pacific. Hawaii is really the base that holds down the Pacific because it's the
Yeah.
entry for the United States. So it's the first area of defense. So we're responsible for people that are deployed in Philippines, which are partners with the United States Army. Um, some of the people that go to Japan, like we're also responsible for areas like this. And there's a lot of like smaller areas that the United States have bases that we got to make sure that those people are getting paid, making sure that their families that are staying home, because a lot of the times like the soldiers deployed to one of those locations, they go for like 8 months, 6 months. They're gonna go and they have their special pays, but the family stays. If everything is not working correctly, they're not getting that extra pay. The family might be um, passing for some financial stress or something like that, and we got to make sure that all this is aligned. So the soldier, we're a big support unit. You know, like it's probably the biggest support unit, I would say, finance, because it's the number one thing that people need to have in order is the finances before they get deployed. So it was a very important job. Like it's a very important office. They say that it was the first or second office created. First was get the soldiers, and the second is like you got to pay the soldier to be part of the army. You know.
Yeah.
So it's it was for me the culture that I experienced, that idea of like being important, doing something meaningful was really interesting, especially when COVID hit. I was over there, and the Hawaii pretty much closed for a long, long time, and we only had the essential workers working, which was the medical, like anybody working in a hospital, they had to work, and finance, because we got to make sure people kept getting paid. The base, sometimes you walk and you wouldn't see a person. It was like a ghost town because everybody went in their rooms or in their houses, and you couldn't really have contact with anybody. But we were some of the few people leaving the house, getting in the car, going to work, the same way that you had nurses, doctors being essential. We're doing that side, and we're actually have long, long days because of that. Like we're having 12, 13-hour days some of the days of COVID because there was so much work to do. We couldn't hire new people. Some people were being separated because it was their time to go from the army. So it was meaningful, stressful, no doubt, very, very heavy load of work. But I look back and I see it was like we did something important at the time that definitely helped people.
Nice. So I know you're working in finance, but were there any equipment or weapons that you were qualified to use?
Yeah, so everybody that is in the army, you actually have to be you have to have your job, which is whatever job you choose to be or you're qualified to be, but you also have to have the military training. I was a sharpshooter, like I had a medal. Like in the army, they have this qualifying. You take the rifle and you go qualified, and they give different medals for according how you shoot. Um, I really like shooting. I didn't shoot ever before, and when I got there, it was great to see just like getting better and getting better. I remember my first time shooting, I did like 25 and 40, and by towards the end of basic training, I scored 39 and 40. So I had a top medal shooter, like, and there's very few people that actually get 39 or 40. So that was a really good shooter. I enjoyed that a lot. Probably one of the reasons I also got invited to go to the Ranger assessment. Um, Shooting is part of going like every once you're in your unit or in your company, they you gotta be maintained the same way that we go and we have the vehicles for our unit. We gotta maintain those vehicles. So every 2 weeks or something, we go and we look, check the oil, we check the tires, make sure everything's correct. um, we got to maintain the soldiers as well. So we got to go shooting. We got to go to the range and practice shooting every month, every other month, at least once. And we spend the entire day just shooting a lot. And then you start learning new weapons as well. Like you might do semi-automatic rifle, or it's like a M16. You might do like a handgun, get good at that too. You might do a 235, which is like, I think it's 235. Not sure about the name, but it's a machine gun. So you start having like this different calibers of weapons, and each person has an opportunity to do it. It depends the unit that you are, where you exposed. According to where you are, you practice shooting a lot more. If you go to the Ranger Regiment, you probably find like 3,000 shot rounds in 2 weeks. So it's different for where you go, and it's just great. You're able to go and practice, and I find it very fun.
So, what units were you assigned to?
125th FMSU, Financial Management Support Unit. Um, so the 125th, the financial management team, they are very proud. They're in South Carolina, the headquarters. That's where I actually got my training as well. I was able to go to the dinner on my graduation. They had this dinner, the annual dinner, so it kind of coincided, and we went to this dinner. So there are people from finance from all over the country, all over the world, right? Because the U.S. has people all over the world, and you have a financial management team in each place in the world. So I was able to go to this dinner. Everybody dressed up on their best outfits from the army, like when you go to events like this. It was very, very interesting to see because they know each other. The people there are there for a long time. They know each other for many, many years. They might have worked together in Germany, in Hawaii, and back in the United States somewhere. So it was really interesting to see that, and just proud to be part of the team of finance, I guess.
So, what were your like dates of service, like the years?
Yeah, so I joined. I think it was January 3rd, 2019, and I separated um, in June 28th, 2022. I had a short time because I had a spine surgery. They found a cyst on my back, and then I was having nerve damage. The cyst was like hitting the nerve of my leg. I also had a lot of problems. Like right now, I just had an ankle surgery because my ligament got really beat up when I was in Ranger assessment, and then I'm gonna have a surgery in December for my right ankle. Um, can you hear me? Because I think the
Yes, I
image
can hear you.
froze. Sorry, the image froze here.
Yeah,
Um,
perfect.
but it's it's I had to separate because I had a spine surgery, and after that I was limited in what I could do, what I could not do, in terms of carrying weight and like being able, because like if you have to hold weapons, you have a certain amount of pounds that you actually just have on the weapon system, and then you have all the gear. So you end up you can carry up to like 60 to 80 pounds easily. And I can't really carry over 30 pounds. At the time I couldn't. So it was one of the reasons that they ended up separating me from the army.
All right, and what was your highest rank?
I was a specialist. Um, when they retire you, I was supposed to be able to be promoted to a sergeant, but at the time I couldn't do a physical anymore, so that limited my my jump to the next stage, which would be sergeant. So I was a specialist when I retired.
So where did you do your basic training, like specifically?
Yeah, my basic training was done in South Carolina, Fort Jackson. And my training for my job was also in South Carolina and Fort Jackson. Later that year, I went to Georgia to the Ranger Regiment to do the Ranger assessment there.
And what was basic training like, if you could describe it for me?
It was very interesting. We were you have a company, so it's a thousand people together. Most of them are 18 to 22 years old. There are some older people. I was the oldest there. Um, and in the room that you sleep with, I think you sleep with 60 people in one rooms. So they have these big buildings with a lot of rooms,
Yeah.
and it's a big dorm pretty much. You have bunk beds, and you have 30 bunk beds. They're all lined up, and then you have each person has a closet that they can have their clothes. Um, you're supposed to only have certain things. If you have any items that are not yours, that means it's considered contraband. And the bathrooms are like really large bathrooms that usually have two bathrooms per place, and then like I don't know, like 20 stalls. And we got to keep the place clean. As a team, you got to make sure everybody's up together. You wake up very early, some days 3:30 in the morning, some days 4, some days 4:30. It depends what the plan is. And if one person of the team is not up, usually everybody has to be doing push-ups together to pay for it. So there's a lot of accountability between soldiers. You create a dependency. It's like, hey, your uniform should look good. Um, you should be in order. You should be on time. Like nobody should be late. So it's a practice because you're moving really big groups of people together with certain goals, and it's very easy to not accomplish because there's so many people together. So it's painful too, like the consequence of not accomplishing something is usually like you got to do a lot of push-ups, and by the end of the day you did like whatever 300 push-ups.
Yeah.
That takes a toll over time on everybody. But you also start working as a team. You start watching each other. It's like, hey, you gotta fix this, you gotta fix this, because you're no longer like taking the consequence not only over one person, it's is over a group. So you start watching over each other, you train more together, you teach each other how to shoot better, you teach each other how to increase their push-ups, like start training together. um, it's people from a lot of different backgrounds. It's very interesting. Like you see people like from all types of races, all types of different locations that they come from, different from different countries, like people from really all over the world. And everybody has a different reason to be in the army. There's so many different incentives to be there. Some people just want to serve. Some people were trying to get their green card at the time. Some people were just trying to like have a job to make sure their family is okay. So it's a lot of different reasons to be there. And like there's people that are just there because they want to get the ability to get education paid for. um, so it's a very mixed group. And when you put a bunch of different people with different cultures together, you usually have some conflict. But it's interesting because you go through these motions together, right? Like through the process of having conflicts and difficulties, you it gets very stressful. It gets very like it takes a toll on your mind. It's not easy. It's probably the hardest time that most people that go through that they have in their life. It's a big challenge. But if you're able to go through the process, you learn about yourself, you learn about how to be with other people, and you come out there with a lot of like lessons, like you carry for life. And um by the end you get out of that together. So even people that you might have some kind of animosity on the process, you become friends or at least friendly towards the end. So it's a very incredible opportunity. It's a huge challenge. It's not everybody that can make it, but it's a good opportunity to know yourself, to grow as a person, and to see what you actually can do, because there's always someone pushing you to do better, to do something that you are not expected to do, or like that you can't expect yourself to do.
Yeah. So, were you involved in any campaigns or operations?
No, I was not deployed. The only camp, like I think on operation that we did there, there was in Hawaii while I was there was a problem with the water system in Hawaii. That there's a lot of military in Hawaii, right? So the military had created, I think, after the Second World War, a storage under a mountain for gas in case we get attacked again. They couldn't blow up like where we have our fuel and all there, right? And those things were really old, like really big tanks under a mountain. They're very old, and they start leaking into the drinking water of Hawaii. So that was a massive problem that it happened there. And the finance team, we're responsible. There's this thing called travel vouchers and travel pay. So families were having the water that they're taking shower or their drinking water coming to their house had fuel on it. So they had been replaced from certain areas in the island to different areas. Sometimes move them to hotel for X amount of months. So that was a huge situation that happened there. A lot of people had to be replaced, moved to different areas until the water situation was solved. And we took that mission was under our belt. It was a huge thing. And we're able to provide to these people. It's like, hey, we're gonna need money to stay in this. Like, okay, you're this rank, you guys live in this area, you're authorized to receive this much, and we'll help everybody for this process. Another thing that happened there was a big flood on the North Shore while I was there. This was something that I actually started, which I'm very happy. Like my wife started sending me some images like, wow, we had this flood here. It does happen in Hawaii pretty often, like floods. And the flood kind of destroyed the North Shore there a little bit, like the town that they had there. A lot of people like lost their houses or water went inside. They didn't have stuff to eat. So I was like, well, let me see what I can do here. So I just talked to my commanders and I'm like, hey, can you guys reach out to as many people as possible? I'm going to be taking donations. So we're taking like from toilet paper to clothes to food to anything that we could give to these people to help them to rebuild their houses or really like just live the next day because they needed food. So my commanders right away, they liked the idea. They reached out to a bunch of people. And the next day I had like 4 cars full of like different things to come and donate on the North Shore. So that was really cool. And it was awesome to see how fast we could have that done. And it was a lot. I ended up getting connected to a lot of people that I didn't even know on the base. And they're like, oh, you're the guy that's raising, like getting all this stuff together. I was like, yes. And whoever wants to help, it was a really good time. You could see other teams. Like you see these guys from infantry. I had a few friends in infantry, and they were getting their trucks together just to go and like go in difficult areas, try to help people to move. Sometimes their cars that got swiped out and were like in mud or something, or like just move things from one side to the other. Oh, this person needs a bed because they lost their bed, bringing you beds. So it was a cool thing seeing how different people from the Army got involved with the local community on that, you know?
So it was a typical day for you, like in service during deployment. What was a typical day like in Hawaii?
Yeah, so during service, I lived probably 40 minutes from the base, 30 if no traffic. So I wake up, I think 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, depending on the day, depending on how much work we had. And I'll just jump like get ready and all this, get to this. Sometimes I go straight to the office. Sometimes we start working at 5 a.m. and we had the full day. But the normal day really is you're supposed to start at 6 and you start with physical training. You're supposed to do an hour of physical training every day with your team. So you do that five times a week, Monday through Friday usually, or they're just doing like weights or you're running or you're doing like the courses with obstacle courses. And then you go and you take a shower, you eat, and then you go to the office and you spend the day doing that. It's usually until 5 or 6 p.m. And then you're free to go home and do whatever you have to do. Um, since I was stationed there during COVID, our days were longer. So sometimes we'll get there at 4:30 in the morning in the office, and instead of just going to train like to the gym, because the gyms are closed and all that, we would literally stay from 4 to 6. So there were very, very long shifts. For me, my day, I had to get home, eat something, and put another 2 or 3 hours studying to be able to get my first degree. Um, so it was a very intense couple of years that I had in my life. But usually the day was start with something physical, and then you go, you do your job, you put the uniform, and you go do the job that you have to do. If you're HR, you go to the HR office. If you're finance, go to finance. If you're infantry, you're going to go do infantry stuff, which might be training, might be moving something, putting something together. It depends. Depends what you do.
All right, I know you never technically left the US, but did you have any interaction with foreign civilians or perhaps enemy military during your time in Hawaii?
No. So our team got deployed a few times for Philippines, to Thailand, and places like this. I was not selected to go. I was gonna go, and then I had my surgery. When I had experience dealing with people from other countries, usually was because um, a service member ended up marrying someone from a different country, and then they moved to the US, or they already moved here and they were just foreigners, and that they needed something in the office done for us. It's like, oh, the payment of my husband's deployed, and the payment's not going correct, so we got to fix something. But it wasn't really something that it happened to me frequently. I travel the world a lot, but independent of the army, nothing related to the army. Um, but it does happen. Like people in finance do get deployed. They get deployed for battlegrounds, or they get deployed to areas that we have partners like Thailand, and we do training with them. And we need like make sure someone is on the ground, make sure that everything's correct. Sometimes the soldiers need something. They actually need money. So you send like it's
Yeah.
almost like a moving ATM, you know.
All right, what was your most memorable event while in the military?
Okay. I think my time in the Ranger assessment, there is a very intense week there that's called Cold Range, and it's 5 days straight where they pretty much drop you in the jungle, and you got to survive. It's not literally like this, but there is a set of instructors there, and they push you. That you're training for this the entire time that you're there. Um, but those 5 days, you probably run like an average of 20 miles a day, alternating between having your rucksack and not having it, and you got to get the points. You got to find yourself on the map, and it might be daytime, might be nighttime. It happen at any time. But a very, very intense 5 days where that experience was something. I seen people collapse and almost die from dehydration. Like there were some crazy stories of things that happened there. Uh, those I couldn't finish because I had this injury that I had. But it definitely pushed me to another level while I was there. Um, and just to see the humans that they are, like the people that are working the Rangers, they really are sacrificing so much of their mind, their body, their families to be in the front lines. So I think it was a good experience. Another thing that I did was like when I got into Hawaii, they signed me up for this thing called Paymaster Challenge, which was a 3-day competition between teams. And we have our team it's a mix of physical with like some knowledge of finance, and but a lot of physical. So when I got to Hawaii, we're competing with the Marines from Japan, like the U.S. Marines that were stationed in Japan, U.S. Air Force stationed in Alaska, U.S. Army from South Korea. They all flew in for this competition, and we're able to win. It was really cool. It was like my team was 4 people total. We beat all these different teams, and we were able to have like helicopter rides to do some of those tasks. saw how I like at nighttime from a helicopter or daytime in a different situation. It was really well organized, really, really incredible to be part of, and even better winning. It was amazing.
And your proudest moment, would you be able to describe that for me?
Yeah, so I think that my proudest moment in in the army, it's actually related to it's not necessarily the army itself, but like being serving there and being part of the finance team during COVID was something. I'm proud of being part of that. But I'm proud also to be able to like had established myself. Like that was the time I got married, that I bought a house for my wife, that we just got married in Hawaii, so we're able to have a place there. I was very proud to be able to build a family, and the army gave me that opportunity. Like gave me the stability for it. I had to work hard for it, but it definitely gave me the stability. So um, I'm also proud of like I passed through a lot of injuries, and I was able to, as a 34-year-old, um, I was one of the fastest runners on basic training from 1,000 people. I think it was the second, like first or second fastest runner there. Um, so that was really amazing because I'm running against like 20 years old. Um, I had a lot of moments, but Paymaster Challenge winning that was incredible. Um, and just I don't know, just serving itself. It was a good experience.
Can you tell me about any awards or medals you may have received?
Yeah, so I received an award for the Paymaster Challenge that I said. It was a huge competition. Um, Everybody from finance in Hawaii from different bases actually got to know me a little bit, which was amazing. I got 4 awards total. One of them was for outstanding work during COVID as well, because very few people were actually being able to work, and the hours that we put, they recognize our office, um, the people working in our office. I got an award for 300 PT score. At the time was the max score. So the max score for physical. I think I had 4 total, but I don't remember really each one. Like one was Paymaster Challenge, the other one was outstanding. I think 2 were for outstanding work in the finance office. Um, but yeah, the awards are nice, but I think the main thing, that most important thing I took from there was like some of the guys that I met, I still keep in touch with them. They're very good people. I'm cheer for them and happy to see them doing well as well. I'm sure that the vice versa, and they're feeling the same for me.
All right, so I know you worked in finance, but these questions might be kind of heavy. Just letting you know you don't have to answer them if you don't want to. Were you ever involved at all in any combat for training purposes or otherwise?
Just training, not combat itself, just really have heavy training.
All right, so what did that very heavy training look and feel like if you haven't already fully described it?
Yeah, so I think the co-ranger and the rangers thing, it was a perfect example. Like the problem with the army, when you get into a really high level of training, is that people get injured, and it's not a uncommon thing. It's a very common thing. So when you think about people going to the army, there's a lot of sacrificing physically happen, and the physical leads to mental sacrifice, because like it starts affecting your life. Like I couldn't walk for pretty much like 2 3 months after my spine surgery. um, I separated from the army 2022 June, and I just had a surgery 10 days ago. Now we're 2024, like
Yeah.
August. It's like it takes a toll on you. I was talking to the doctors, like, you're 39, but your foot looks like 55. So I think the training itself, it's hard. It takes a toll on people, and that physical toll leads to a mental, because you stop doing things you like doing. I was an incredible runner before, and now like I'm doing everything I can in terms of like getting surgery, going back to the gym to try to go back to run again, because it was something that was really part of me and kept me sane. um so I think that that's something that comes with the experience. I cannot imagine how it is for people that pass through other parts, which is like you go to combat and you actually have to deal with the bigger picture, which is that's a really big like sacrifice, just having to be shot at or have to kill another human being. That cannot be easy.
All right, so I'm going to ask you about some things that may have impacted you after you left the military. Have you experienced fatigue beyond the original physical exhaustion you would get from activity?
Yeah, like I definitely passed through my good share of depression. I think I think when you get that much like physical toll on you, and like
Yeah.
it's mental as well, right? It does affect you. So I think I still deal with it. I do therapy. I go to psychiatry as well. I'm trying to keep working on it, do better every day, trying to adapt. It's like in the beginning, I really thought I couldn't even be around people anymore in terms of like going to work on a regular setup, like going to work in a company can be difficult. People that have deeper traumas on those situations, I cannot imagine how they do it. It's
Neither.
important to have like support. You need to have like people with you that can lift you up, and that's not only like psychology, like psychology or psychiatry. I think it comes down to have really like meet people that they're friendly. They become friends of you. They build up support, and they. I have this couple that I really look up. Um, Anne Levy, she works at the University of Miami. An incredible person. Her husband, Richard Vermont, he's a donor there. Is like a really good people, and they're like mentors and really great friends. Then those are the kind of people that like they push me to do better. They help me out, and I think it's important for you to always surround yourself with good support. And that's in regular life too, but I think it's especially important for people that are veterans.
Okay, so has your military service impacted you as a civilian and or student, and if so, how?
Yeah, so I think my level of focus it's different now. Like there's eh, moments that I'm ultra focused, and then there's moments that's very hard for me to focus. There is a side of that that I think that it took a toll on me on certain ways. Um, and like I said, like your confidence, self-esteem can be affected too. Um, I look, this is a very personal question. I think it can be different from everybody. That's my experiences. Like I have struggled. I don't like denying struggle. I like to recognize it and look into it and try to beat it, you know. I am trying to get as much help as I can. But there are moments that I'm like, it's hard. It's like it's hard that you have to go for the steps, got to get the next steps, and you don't know if you're capable. And but I think life is like that for everybody, and it's like the unknown. But definitely, I'm different from before,
Yeah.
especially because I joined later, so I can see that's like I was a person, and then after that, there are certain differences.
And how was the transition from being in the army to being a civilian to being a student?
Yeah, so I think because I went to school, that was a positive thing for me because it kept me busy right away. It's hard to adapt. It's a different culture. It's not super easy, but there are very good things about being in the army. Like you're used to wake up really early, to work really hard, put extra hours. I think that helps. But the rhythm is also different. The way the system of teaching and learning is different from the army itself. Um, So I don't know. It's like starting anything new, you know, like it feels like the army is a completely different lifestyle. If you want to erase, if you know something and you live in a certain way and you go into the army, you're gonna live in a different way. It's like starting from zero. And after you get out of the Army, it's like starting from zero again. So I think it's always difficult when you change in life. Life change moments, like you're changing your life. Sometimes people change jobs. Same thing. It's a shock. So when you have a shock, you gotta be able to adapt as much as you can. I think one of the good set of minds that I learned from the Army is that you gotta be adaptable. Like, gotta do what you gotta do with what you have in your hands, and you gotta adapt. Sometimes you're gonna make good choices. Sometimes you're gonna make bad choices. You gotta live with it and gotta go through it. And if it's a bad choice, if you can catch and change something, do it. If you can't, just go through the process and do better later. But it's not easy. But if it was easy, it would be boring too.
Was there anything from your military service that actually helped you as a student at the University of Miami?
Yeah, definitely. Like being able to sit in front of a computer for like 10 hours straight.
Yeah.
That helps you when you need to study for like big exams and you're like, oh, I'm exhausted. It's like, well, there's methods there. Take a break, drink more coffee, drink more water, eat something, go back at it. Like it's not
Yeah.
the end of the world. So you can catch up with that later. So I would say like endurance, it's one of them. Persistency, and I think dealing with failure is definitely one of them. If you're a perfectionist, it's hard for you. It can be hard because if like you don't do well in something, you might just give up. But I think in the Army, there's no giving up. You're there, you have to do it, and it's the
Yeah.
same thing. Like you bring that to school, it's like, okay, I didn't do well. I'm gonna go to the next step. I'm gonna do better. It is what it is.
And how has the university helped you at all with your transition?
I think the universe has been very supportive. Like I have the 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 Office of Disability is a really good resource that the university has.
Yeah.
The school also has the VA office, the Veterans Affairs office, which if you need anything, you can just call. They will answer a lot of questions. They will give you good directions.
I'm so sorry. It appears I can't hear you at the moment.
Yeah, I'm back here. Someone was calling.
Yeah,
You
no
good?
worries. Yeah, all good. Let's go ahead and repeat what you last said.
Um, but I think that the school does a good job with the veterans. They try to. There's a veteran center there that you can actually become part of the club and be part of it. Um, but I think that the most important thing is to have a place like the veterans counselor and all that. If you need to have someone that's a point person, you do have it, and that helps a lot. Um, I don't know. I think that it would be good to have certain events. Maybe they are because I see all the time like some army events, but I think that's the army kind of like trying to get people in. But kind of like there is a community. I think I could just get more involved with it, and I'm happy with it. I think this school does a good job.
Nice. Do you have any advice for veterans who want to pursue a college education after their service?
Yes, I do. I think I have something that first get yourself settled um, with the basics. Where you're gonna live and all those different things. Like really focus in getting your back of the house ready to go. And while you're in school, try to focus in school. Like the time that we're there should be taken advantage of it. There's a lot to learn, and if you're able to go with the mind that's like it's just different. It's not gonna be the same thing. It's gonna be different, and you're gonna learn. It's the place to learn. So it's not gonna be always easy. You're not gonna always have a subject that you enjoy. You're always gonna have a teacher that you enjoy, but you're gonna have a lot of teachers that you really
Yeah.
enjoy. You're gonna have subjects that are surprises. You're like, wow, I was not expecting this. This is awesome. So just go with open mind, um, and think like think like a new person always. I think that's the secret there. if you think like you're new at something that you got to learn from the beginning, it's always the best way to learn. Like you go and your experience is more pleasant than not, like a lot of times you have expectations and you go with this and that generates suffering. Expectations and suffering go hand in hand. So it's better to go with an open mind without expectations and just enjoy the journey. And you end up suffering less and enjoy more, I guess.
Awesome. So is there anything you'd like to add on that I didn't ask you?
Nothing comes to mind. To be honest, I think I spoke a lot.
Yeah. All right. Then is there anything you would like to tell future generations or honestly even my generation?
Yeah, I think it's worth taking a look at the new jobs that the Army has. They have they have some new jobs that people are like, oh, I like gaming and stuff. They have those jobs there, and that will correlate to some of the functions later that we'll have. Also, there's a lot of benefits being part of there. Like I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, oh, we go in the Army. First of all, you have to have that idea that you're like, oh, I'm going and I'm gonna learn new things. It's a good thing. You're gonna grow as a person. But there's so many benefits. Like you can use the VA loan later for the rest of your life. It's something that really helps for people that want to purchase a home. It's life changing. It can be life changing for yourself and for your family. So I think it's always worth like exploring that. And you might be doing some good as well. Like there's a lot of good that's done that people don't really know. I think it's worth researching why America is the way it is. Like I come from a different country, and it's like America is a country of laws, and it's like the structure came because a lot of people sacrificed to get that done. And I think it's worth like studying a little more of our history and taking a look at the Army, like what it has been done. Not only the bad, there's so many people that says a lot of negative, but look at the good things and really spread the good word, because there's a lot of good that's been done by service member over the years.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for speaking with me today and sharing your story, and thank you for everything you've done for this country. Go Canes!
Go Canes! Nice to meet you.
The honor of being a veteran is not just in the recognition by others, but in the deep personal pride of having fulfilled a sacred duty. In celebrating veterans, we acknowledge the strength, resilience, and integrity that they represent. Through dedicated research, heartfelt storytelling, and community engagement, it ensures that the legacy of service endures and that future generations never forget the courage and dedication that have shaped our world. The Making History Project is dedicated to honoring and preserving the voices of our veterans. Thank you for your support.